Keith Haring is one of the most famous American artists of all time, and in 1986 he painted his iconic Crack is Wack mural on a handball court wall in Harlem. It was created in response to the crack epidemic, which was rampant in major cities across the United States during the mid to late 1980s. The mural was meant to caution young people from taking the dangerous drug, and it's located in what is now known as the Crack is Wack playground off the Harlem River Drive at 2nd Avenue and East 128th Street. Keith Haring's legacy is closely tied to his public art, which first brought him to attention in the early 1980s with his temporary chalk drawings on advert panels on the walls of the city's subway platforms. Crack is Wack is considered Haring's most iconic piece. It showcases his signature style, for which he became known around the world in the 1980s. It is a rare surviving example in New York City of his street art in situ. The mural was dedicated to Haring's studio assistant, Benny Soto, a Puerto Rican teenager from the South Bronx. And after various failed attempts to help Benny overcome his addiction, and in addition to his own rising frustration towards the government's inability to curb the widespread epidemic, Haring decided to create the anti-drug mural in Benny's honor. As with his works created in the fight against AIDS, the piece is emblematic of how Haring used his art to support causes he believed in and to express his frustration with government officials at their slow response in addressing these issues. The reason why this piece is still in situ is because Haring created the first version of the mural on June the 27th, 1986, without permission of the city's parks department. He was promptly arrested for vandalism of city property by the police, but was later released after several media sources and the parks department supported his efforts to combat the crack epidemic through his art. Haring stated to the police that Crack is Wack was often featured in news stories about the epidemic. While Haring was in police custody, his original mural was painted over in grey by someone at the Parks Department. However, the department's commissioner later asked Haring to paint a new mural, which he did on October the 3rd, 1986. This is the version we can still see today, with the same style and messaging as the original. During this period, Haring had an art studio in Manhattan, where the Keith Haring Foundation is still located today. According to the foundation, Haring often worked spontaneously on non-traditional canvases, such as this handball court wall, and was not necessarily concerned about the long-term survival of his graffiti on these less than ideal surfaces. The existence of Crack is Wack today is due in large part to the Parks Department and the Keith Haring Foundation. Several restorations have been undertaken, most recently in 2019. And in the summer of 1987, a year after Haring created Crack is Wack, he also painted the Carmine Street mural next to the public pool at the Carmine Street Recreation Centre in Greenwich Village, and also his Once Upon a Time mural in the now former second floor men's bathroom at the LGBT Community Centre, and these two also survive. Keith Haring created these three murals in the years leading up to his untimely death, aged just 31, from AIDS-related complications in 1990. He will be remembered as one of the most iconic and visionary artists to ever come out of America.